zone amendment ordinance. You heard Russ talk about it in some of our conversation. Anybody got anything else? Up or down, left or right?
Good work, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. I'll close the public hearing then, not hearing anything. Yeah, good job here, Russ. I know this is a lot of work. Did you get some help from West Fargo's ordinances on some of this stuff? That they've gone through some of this, I believe, right?
Not much of this is from West Fargo. This is just kind of addressing some of our own issues.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I download West Fargo's about every other month to make sure I have the latest changes.
Right. Yep. So, no, that's good. All right, so let's move along on the Terra Gardens.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, the final thing I have, Terra Gardens, we had our first reading of the ordinance, and it was to rezone the property from Ag to R6. And that was done at your last meeting, so this is just a second reading on that.
Anybody got any?
Straightforward.
I mean, I think this is pretty much. Russ, you didn't have anything else on that, did you? No. So, all right, I'm gonna entertain a motion here, guys.
I make a motion to approve that.
Okay, John.
Second.
Brian does a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Boom. Okay, second reading is done on that.
Is this out of line to ask if they come through plan and zoning for the plat?
Nope,
Okay,
just preliminary.
okay.
Mr. Mayor, that is all I had. Thank you
it.
for your time and consideration.
All right, not a problem. Good. So well, at least you didn't have a whole page full there, Lucas. So
Felt like it did.
you know,
Felt like it did.
a lot of comments on one there. All right, Jim, you're up.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council. The first thing on our agenda for tonight is we'll just discuss a little bit about the water replacement project. Spent a lot of time talking with people, looking through old plans, trying to figure out a way to meter the trailer court. It's going to be difficult to say the least. I sent out an email this morning.
Yep,
I don't know if you
saw
got that.
Yep.
I submitted that. I think that we're going to have to go back to square one and just individual meter and how we want to handle after that individual meter is something we'll have to discuss. But it can be done. It will be done. And I'm thinking right now, we'll probably have to have a discussion this coming week about that.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking is we'll advertise in the paper on the 5th of March, and we will open bids on the 29th of March with an anticipated award of April 2nd. We would award it at that first meeting in April.
Okay.
So we'll proceed forward with that schedule.
So far, the planned scope and expenses are coming in.
They are. They're actually a little bit
Approximately
less
what we
now.
Sorry?
They're actually a little bit less, estimated a little bit less because of we take out the excavation part of installing the meters and the meter pits and all that for the trailer court. It reduces the project cost. So the estimated project cost is less. So we'll have that at the next meeting.
Okay.
As far as the sewer interest survey along 64th, we do have a mail merge list of all the subdivisions up in that area put together. I have a draft letter that I could get to you, and how we want to distribute it is something I wanted to talk to you about. I know we had talked about putting an option online, and we can tweak whatever we have to do that for forming it, and we can physically mail out something.
We can allow people to submit their feedback either online, put in their address or something like that, or
Yep.
through a
Yep.
mail. So we can send out the letter and say either submit your response online or, fill out the full survey and send it back.
Yep. And like I said, we can handle the mailings, or the city we can provide you with the list and the letter, and you can do the mailings however you would like to do that to proceed with that.
I don't know if we get any discounts on mailing, that kind of thing, or you have the list of recipients, right? Or you have the list.
We've created the list by subdivision.
By subdivision.
Yep.
So you're having a specific letter for each of those subdivisions. Okay.
Yep. So I will send that letter to you for review,
Okay.
and then we can proceed however you want to build a form for the website or
How would you, the date we plan to send it out? I mean,
we can send it out. We could,
surveys.
let's see, it's Tuesday. We could send it out by the end of the week if we wanted to.
So I suppose the sooner the better.
The sooner the better. I'd rather
Yes.
get this ball rolling, so if we can.
So look in
If
your
we
email
could put
tomorrow
a
morning.
target,
for,
if we could put a target for all the responses by the end of March,
okay.
that way we'll have all our survey says results
Yeah.
and compiled
That'd
and
be
decide actions from
plenty
there.
of time then.
Look
so.
for that draft in the morning.
Okay, all right, so
Order
good.
it that way. So, and then we'll just handle all the mailing. I think that may be probably just easier, clearer. We've done it in the past for the paving projects that we sent out opinions on and stuff like that. So we can do that, not a problem. The other thing, let's see, I had, no, we talked about that. All right, that's all I had for
You
tonight.
good? All right.
I'm gonna make a comment that the people that have asked me about sewer, and I told them to call either you, Brian, or you, Corey, are people from Westwood, Woodland, and Sleepy Hollow, that area. And I don't know how many people have ever called you, but
0.
0.
I told them I passed it on. I
Yep.
said, because I'm out of that picture, you guys, you're taking care of it, so.
They're
I just want-
asking about getting connected.
Yeah, and if it was coming through, when would it come through? How would you put it in? You know, would you go in the ditch and put it in or whatever? And I said, I have no details whatsoever. Call one of you.
Okay.
I think too, once we get this survey done too, it's probably not gonna hurt to have another public hearing.
No,
meeting.
and that's what the thought was, is
Yeah.
that we gauge the interest. If there's no interest, we don't proceed with that anymore.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
But
to.
if there is, I think
good
it's-
interest, we'll
that-
definitely meet more, because we don't have costs now or anything like that. We're not putting any time into
Right.
trying to figure out something preliminary.
No.
If nobody wants it, it doesn't seem like a
Right.
good use of time, so.
But see, we can put together some options. We can ballpark again. It's
Yeah.
not anything we gotta sit and
I mean,
drill
yeah.
down on, but
It's no different than any other project. We would look for a person from that development to be the kind of like the spokesman.
Representative.
Yep.
Representative for the residents. It could be the main point of contact that can get the information back to the residents. So, I mean, but that'll be part of, once we get a development that says, yes, we're interested, then we'll proceed. Until that happens, we're not doing anything with that development.
Right.
Say, Brian, it's still, we suffer, or not suffer, but it's hard to get feedback from our citizens in town. Is that something we should put in Horace Happenings as kind of a headline of this coming down the line and start talking amongst your neighbors, so neighborhoods can start having, because it is gonna be a process. And then there is a survey coming
It's
out.
in the current issue of the Horse Happenings.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in the
Yeah,
mailbox
it was
today when I
just a-
checked it.
It was a little blurb, but in the next edition, we'll just actually put the survey
Yep.
itself and the write-up associated with it. So,
And it is online too.
I mean, that can be something that I can put a write-up in March, talking more about the capital improvement items and that kind of thing.
we can get that up on our Facebook page too.
Yep. So we
So
can
just get it out there.
Communication with everyone, yep. Okay.
All right, so on the portfolio, John, you got anything?
I do, Mr. Mayor, now, after reading through or hearing the minutes from our last meeting, real quickly and talking surveys, Kelly Visto came in last meeting, I believe, and talked to us and had some concerns. And in our minutes, we talked about continuing that conversation and doing a survey. I'm not a Facebook person at all, but I did notice Facebook after the meeting, and there were 2 positive comments about our enforcement that I thought was good to hear. And I want to support Kelly 100%. I absolutely love what he's doing. I want him to continue on that, but I also think we do need to do our part on it. So what is our step as far as, is somebody going to get a survey out? And is that our goal?
You're talking about the survey out on the police protection
Yes.
and the value that it's providing.
And what is there something else they're needing? And maybe that needs to be even in conjunction with a couple other items that we've had discussion on. An overall survey of the state of the city, even make it that, We do get people that watch, and those watching tonight, please send into Facebook your comments and.
You think he does commercials,
Yeah.
Russ, go.
I was really disturbed with listening to him last meeting. And the reason I was disturbed was he's unhappy because apparently our sheriff's department is scaring away potential DUIs. You hear what I just said there? I like having them present. I enjoy having a regular sheriff's presence in town.
But you also heard when they talked about how many DUIs have been happening in Horace, it's been 1 a month. Okay, that's a low stat for the county, so,
Compared to the other report we heard, and
yeah, so, I mean, it's not a big deal, as in, I mean
Well,
by,
yeah.
yeah, I know, but I'm saying as far as what the sheriff's department is seeing compared to the rest of the county, we're not a high risk or a high watch area in that arena at this point.
It's not like they're targeting
Yeah.
customers of his establishment.
But I mean, I still
Because
mean,
if that were true, then we would expect higher rates.
but the
per
Kelly,
capita.
I agree with everything you just said.
But at
Why
this
did
point,
you
we
put
don't,
that?
we have no information that would tell us that we're doing anything, or the Cass County Sheriffs are doing anything wrong. Or, actually doing what Mr. Visto is claiming.
I'm loving their presence.
I think though, it just might behoove the council to think about that, to come up, and it doesn't have to be just strictly on the deputies, maybe there's some other survey questions that we should ask.
and that's my point. I think more of a state of the city. Like,
Yeah, and maybe put it together.
We've
as a
talked,
package.
even bringing in mosquito spraying that's coming up. Those things that, you hear the phone calls, the person who stops you on the corner, once in a while, that you hear those comments and
Yeah.
get some more feedback.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep. There's mechanisms for that, so, yep, absolutely.
well, let's think about that a little bit, I think that we could probably come up with, I'd say 6 or 7, I'll call them survey questions that we can
Yep.
just send out there and see what we get back.
I think it's
Doesn't
just,
hurt to try.
it's an idea of engaging conversation, because a lot of times people don't understand why. And that's, I think, I wanna have that conversation for people who are confused on what's out there and what we're doing. We wanna be transparent to it all.
Well, yeah, let people know, and if they do have questions or concerns, just what the body's for, come on in, let's have a talk about it. But I'd say too, getting a survey out right now would probably be something to think about. So maybe we should task ourselves with just coming up with a list of questions on that.
Yep.
And then just continue this conversation in our next meeting.
That's it.
Okay, that's it. Dave is absent. Okay, I'll pick, Sharon's gone, but I did ask her about that. She went to that Main Street Summit, in my absence. Sounds like it was good. I'll kind of just paraphrase through her, email. I asked her, how did it go? If it was worth going to. Yeah, it's great. She said she came up with 19 pages of notes. I'm not going through them all here. But it did sound like they went through, there was a lot of engagement about how, millennials and what to do, how to attract them, how to work with like high school kids, getting them thinking, what would they like down the road? I mean, what would it take for my kids to come back to Horace? Engaging the kids in order to try and think about future leadership, pride in the community, city identity, quality of life, these types of things we've all kind of talked about when we're doing our Envision Horace things, along with some other stuff, town center, small shop type of thing, events in town, just how to beautify the town, how to make it more attractive, things like that. They went through an awful lot of stuff the way it sounds, so it sounds like it was a good deal. Again, I did fill out that survey, so at some point here in the next, I think it was month and a half or so, the Main Street Initiative group is going to be meeting with us and having a conversation about what we can do too as a city to kind of push that along a little
So you're
bit.
gonna tie that in with like an Envision
Yeah,
meeting?
yep, try and bring it all together.
Okay. Cool.
But I gotta let them, they gotta give me a little more heads up on it, because right now I haven't heard anything, so
Yep.
anyway, that's the plan there, so. If she wants to expound on this when she comes back, but I mean, it looks like it was a good deal, and it's all right, get that engagement going, and let's
She
keep
said it was excellent. I had a brief conversation with her about it.
Yeah, 'cause I think too, we'll keep on with this,
Yep, absolutely.
so. All right, Brian, I'll send it over to you.
All right, so topic number 1, the Stormwater Management discussion. Damon DeVillers from Interstate is assisting us with our complying with the state requirements for having stormwater management ordinances and so forth in place. Matea, that I've uploaded a folder up in our council area called Stormwater. So there's a folder there, and I've included all of the files that Damon has put together so far. So there's going to be some requirements that are going to have to end up landing on the planning and zoning and permitting. So there's some permits that they have to apply for. We just have to show that there's a process in place for this. And I believe, Jim, there's an ordinance that we will probably have to put on one of the upcoming meetings. Let's just put it that way, right? Because we have not brought the stormwater ordinance forward for review and approval, correct, Lucas?
That goes in front of planning commission on February 27th, and then city council.
Okay, so it's in process. It's in process. All right. So.
And that one we did public hearing notice for.
Okay. So just raising awareness that we,
common.
you know, and again, doing this a little bit for the sake of the North Dakota public. I forget which organization is requiring this. It's what? Health Department. Okay. So we need to get this through so we can get this in place and understand the impact for any future developments that are going to be happening in the area. So just raising this for awareness for everyone that we've got this happening.
A draft copy has been submitted to them for to show that we're moving things along.
Matea, if you can bring up the next topic is the capital improvement plan. There's the CIP version 1.1 that's out in the SharePoint area, the folder for our meetings. This is a revised capital improvement plan document that we have gone through now. We've done a second round of reviews on this proposed capital improvement plan document. A number of the items are already in process. We have started, for example, like the Horseshoe Bend Sanitary, because Olivia's Acres Sanitary, those two projects have already petitioned to get sewer connection out to their sanitary sewer connection out to those developments. Priorities from our standpoint that we want to continue to move ahead. Obviously, the sanitary sewer to Deer Creek is number one, but that's in process already. The water meter upgrade, we already talked about that one. So a lot of these items are already in process, but we're essentially they didn't quite get completed in 2017, so we're keeping them as a top priority for 2018. A new one that's on this list that we wanted to make sure is clear is the Chestnut Ironwood Stormwater Lift Station. This essentially we're splitting that project up into two pieces so that we can bid them independently and get feedback from the development in terms of the costs and the areas affected, so that we can assess what the cost impact would be for those residents. So once we get some of the design information together, we'll be presenting that back to the development for feedback. Another item that's a high priority item that we want to consider for this upcoming year is the water supply and storage improvements. We threw a $500,000 tag on that. It's rough order magnitude. It might be much higher than that. But this one is a fairly high priority because we've got improvements that need to be made to the water treatment center, as possibly a third well. So one option here is to, as part of this, is to continue to look at how much it's going to cost to upgrade and fix our current equipment and water supply. And if that cost is going to be too high, at what point do we consider hooking up to Casserole Water, just getting our water from Casserole Water? So there's multiple options here that we're going to entertain just from a cost standpoint to see what, because one of the most common complaints that I get is water quality. Everyone, and you guys probably hear the same thing.
Quite often.
So that is a regular issue, and if to get that water quality to an acceptable level is going to cost too much, and it would actually be cheaper to hook up to Casserole Water, that can be one of the options that we can entertain. So we're going down that evaluation path. The road improvement projects are listed here. The one that we do want to make a priority for this upcoming year we need to make a decision what we're gonna do with it. Is the 8th Avenue extension? Wanna make sure we get that, either if we're gonna proceed with that and get the easement issue, or I think there was an easement issue that was the last blocking issue there, to get that moving ahead. And then obviously, one priority item that we wanna figure out is the compost area improvement. Considering how much money we spent last year in removing yard waste from waste management, that was a fairly expensive process that we had to go through. So, is there a lower cost alternative rather than sending it all to the landfill? So we're going to try and investigate that. And we did actually, the numbers that we had on the plow truck and the new street sweeper were incorrect before, so we got those numbers corrected. So we do have an approximate 5.5 million. That number's high because some of the items on this list were already appropriated for 2017. So the number seems high, but it's because of that reason. And then the one column that I added at the council's request from the last meeting was the proposed funding source. And again, that's a proposal, not necessarily the actual where we would fund these projects, but it would be a place that we would consider as a possible option once we get into that project. So I don't know if we need to necessarily approve this capital improvement plan for this coming year. I think I've received feedback from just about everyone, and we've reviewed a couple times now with Interstate as our city engineering to gather input and priorities. So I don't know if we need to adopt this as our capital improvement plan for 2018.
Lucas, you got any suggestions on that? I'm not really sure what we do with it's just a guideline. Do we need to approve it as a council to enact it, or is this kind of just a guideline or sheet? They're not actually spending it.
Right.
I would approve it. Is this just your draft, or is this the one that you're going with? Because you approved them last year, did you not?
We approved the 2017 capital improvement plan. So, and again, I mean, some of the items on the list were items that we didn't actually complete. So it's saying these are our project priorities for this coming year, and that we would then direct Interstate Engineering to appropriate funds to design these.
I would definitely approve it then.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
This is a fluid thing.
Absolutely. But it's saying here are our priority projects that we're saying we are willing to spend money on
Right.
to get engineering work.
It's our goals.
I
Our
agree
goals
100%.
list.
It was just interesting from when Brent was here, Colin, hopefully our first city administrator, talking about the compost area. That was one of the subjects he brought up.
Right.
Right, he brought that up.
I thought that was just fantastic. He's gonna have some ideas to go along with this.
Right.
So
But we recognize that these are some of the pain
Absolutely.
points that we're experiencing as a city, and we need to figure out a solution to this, a solution to some of these problems. Now, like for example, the snow plow and the street sweeper, we may not have funds this year. We may, we haven't gone through that funding exercise to say how many of these we can actually fund. But this is the priority list, and once we go through that funding exercise, then we'll, items may fall off the list.
Yeah, you're just basically approving a guideline. It's not.
Yep.
None of
Yep.
these are mandatory that you have
Right.
to get done.
Right.
But it's,
You're not
You
directing
gotta have
your
something to
stakeholders
work
with
with.
all of them. Yeah.
Right.
okay.
Vance, you have?
I'd make a motion to approve your.
It's okay, I can comment.
Okay.
Go ahead, John.
I'll make a motion to approve the capital improvement.
John makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Brian does a second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Okay. Good.
All right,
Got that.
so I will go ahead and publish this. Publish this as our current adopted capital improvement plan for 2018 for the city. Okay, Vance.
Yes, thanks, Brian. Just as a point of interest here, a gentleman from United Rentals just happened to come into my office today. And I asked him about street sweepers. We may be interested. And he's going to send me lease information, finance information. So
That's awesome.
we may have a little head start on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He just came in out of the blue, just
Perfect.
checking.
That's the way we like it. Sometimes that's the way these things roll, right?
You know?
So the financial, okay, the last item, financial initiative, review status. Just a quick update on that. We're gonna be meeting tomorrow, I believe, our first kickoff meeting, with the A2S, doing some initial, looking at our current status. So Jimmy, we're probably gonna be looking for some information from you.
Okay.
Just as, basically information from the GIS, just streets, some statistics more than anything of what we currently have. So we may need some of that, and then Vance will. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the list of items that Ryan had asked for.
I haven't
Okay.
had a chance.
Okay.
I'm working with a lot of things right now.
Okay. All right.
When is the meeting? What time?
I believe it's 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we'll have a video phone conference. So I'll just have to dial in because I'm booked before and afterwards. So I'll just be able to dial in from that phone call. So we're getting that kicked off. There will be a kickoff meeting tomorrow, and we're moving along to get that project underway.
Cool.
That's it.
Good. Okay, so on my part here, right before I left town, I got an email here about Willow Court, and they were talking about the road not being plowed, and it was part of that was because there was cars on the street, of course. But we also had somebody who was complaining about the neighbor that had 4 cars in the yard and all that kind of, took down a fence, and basically wondering why are we not enforcing our ordinances. So it's probably getting time to go back and revisit that again. We'll start. You sent a letter to, I believe, over to Willow Court.
On December 1 of 17.
Okay.
And no action. I never got any response.
No response. Okay.
Is this for nuisance items?
Nuisance items. Yeah.
Do we need to have discussion on these things, or is it just we need to just task the process to take place? Haven't we?
I mean,
The
Yeah,
way
we
your
got
ordinances
the
are
process
written,
in place.
the way your ordinances are written, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Vance has the authority to send out those
Absolutely,
letters.
make it happen and do it.
But it's a
Things
matter
that
of
we
we
don't.
have to keep track of it because there's a timing.
right. That's
Be
part of it.
cognizant of.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Do you need to send a second letter? Again, I'm going through what I remember how we did this in prior. But all right, so we've got the issue where there's cars parked in the guy's driveway, or on the yard actually is where some of these stuff is parked. And obviously that violates our ordinances. We sent them a letter. Some of the stuff is still there. So what's the next step? We do that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying with the timeline is you have to give them so many days to clean it up, and then if they don't, then you send another letter saying, okay, you have not listened to the city. Then you have to go to the city council and explain to them why you're not cleaning it up. Or it's a provision that says the city attorney then has the authority to take legal action, and that's either fine them or bring it to district court.
Mhm.
And so that's why, yeah, Vance can do it, but it's him and I need to do it together.
Absolutely.
So then I'm on the same
Coordinate
page.
the
And
activity.
then
Yep.
it's basically after Vance sends one letter, then I take over and then write a letter saying, okay, you're not listening. Here's how we're going forward with this.
Okay.
Is that not the rental property?
Yep.
That's what I thought.
Tow their car, I'll tell you.
And that's.
I mean,
that's
yeah,
all
but you
right.
gotta go through the
Yeah.
process before you
Yeah.
can do that. So that's why I wanna make sure that
Yeah.
they're on the same page and we can get that done. So let's, you got the first letter out and you didn't get any response on that. So why don't you two guys
Yeah, so then
let's
just email them
coordinate
tomorrow,
that.
Vance, and I'll take over. Send them another letter. And for some reason, if they see that it's from the attorney, then it gets serious, I would say, to people.
Okay.
Or they don't like seeing onset patrolmen. For some reason, people don't like attorneys, I don't know why.
Yeah, what's up with that, right?
We like you, Lucas.
All right. So, other than that, it's nice to be back. Gone for a while on that mission trip, and that was kind of nice. Saw like 1,150 people in 5 days. Lance Bertram performed 80 cataract surgeries, so that 80 people that could see again. That was kind of cool.
So what was the one photo? It looked like a pad with like brown little discs on it. Were those actual cataracts?
Yeah, he keeps track of them.
I,
They're different
I saw
colors.
that and I went, what?
Yeah.
Saves all those? That was incredible.
Some of them are a little bit more spectacular than
Oh
others.
yeah, you can see that.
Haiti, we were in Pignon.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
Like
At,
80 surgeries in 5 days.
Yeah, I mean, they were
that's-
smoking. You know, you could go through them pretty. I mean, you had the facilities to do it, even though you're there. But they were moving things along. Doctors took turns, and
It's awesome to see that kind of result.
yeah, it was really cool. That's in the morning. What they do is they get up. They did the surgeries one day, and then in the morning they'd remove the patches, and it was kind of fun to watch. You know, these people who either their wife or the husband's been leading them around for, you know, who knows, 2-3 years, and now suddenly they don't have to be led around anymore. And so you can see that when they take the patch off in the morning, the big smile when he, you know, how many fingers have I got up, and they can see it, and that's pretty cool. So that was a good trip.
So you guys have been going long enough now. You're probably seeing some of the people that you've helped in years past.
Yeah, because they recognize you. You know, and they'll come
Right.
up and they'll point. You know, fix my eye. You know, that's kind of cool.
No, but you guys handed out like 1,100 or over 1,000 pairs of glasses.
Well, it was like 600. I think it was 600 sunglasses and 800 some regular glasses. So yeah, most of the time all they need is readers, but it just that helps. What's kind of neat is they have a French Bible, and that's how they can do this. And eventually, if they can see it, they start smiling. Well, then you know they got the vision's there, so you're good to go. So anyway, that was fun. That was a good trip, and good for Lance and the team to do things like that.
Yeah.
And the cool thing was Kevin Walvan was along, who from WDAY, and they will be doing a documentary on us. They kind of came along and took video, and he's been there numerous times, so he knew the area and the landscape and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be kind of
How
fun.
many people were on the team?
25 of us.
So almost 10% were from Horace.
Yep.
Over 10%.
We only had 4 people.
Four?
Four.
From Horace? Oh, okay.
Yep. So
That's cool.
anyway, that was where I was at for a while. So with that,
Mr. Mayor, just one
Sure.
quick comment. March 6th and March 7th, Matei and I will be in Bismarck at League of Cities Auditor.
March Madness.
Commonly known as March Madness.
Yep.
So and there will be no one in the office. We'll send out an email to remind you guys of that.
You want to post something on the Facebook
Yes,
page or
we
website?
definitely will.
Okay.
So, and we'll be back in the office Thursday morning.
Okay, but yeah, we should probably put something for the Facebook site too, just
Right.
just splatter it around a little bit, make sure people realize that you guys won't be here.
Offices are closed and that kind of thing. Yep.
So, okay. Anybody got anything else? Otherwise, entertain
Second.
a motion to adjourn. John was first, Brian was second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are good to go.
You're done. Yep.
Please sign.